Madam President, let the annual meeting begin.
Thank you, Catherine. Welcome, Girl Scouts. Good morning. I am Barbara Krumsick, President of the Board for Girl Scouts Nation's Capital. This is our 59th annual meeting, and we are so excited you are joining us remotely so that we can conduct important council business that impacts the Girl Scout experience in our region. In true Girl Scout tradition, we will open our meeting today with our national anthem, the Pledge of Allegiance, and our Girl Scout promise and law.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
On my honor,
I will try to serve God
and my country, to help people at all times,
and to live by the Girl Scout law.
I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong,
and responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others,
Respect authority, use resources wisely,
make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout.
Thank you, Girl Scouts. It was exceptional. Thank you. Today, you will hear speeches from 3 Girl Scouts who will share their personal stories and their own experiences with cooperation, support, and impact. Throughout the meeting, we will also see videos recognizing some of our stellar volunteers for their service to our council. Invited to join us today are Rhea Schwartz and Linda Foreman, former board members of GSUSA, and current GSUSA board members Marcus Peacock and Diane Tipton, as well as the current interim CEO for GSUSA, Judith Batty. Welcome all. I would now like to recognize our former board presidents who continue to support the council through the years. Danella Brockington, Bernice Collis, Angela Lancaster, Barbara Lewis-Lehman, Kathy McKinless, and Diane Tipton. Since our last meeting, I'm sorry to say we lost 2 of our former presidents, Sue Guthridge and Faye Fields. Sue actively participated in the Girl Scout movement as president of the board of directors from 1993 to 1996. She was the chair of the property task force, where she led renovations and reopening of our Girl Scout camp properties. And as a national volunteer, where she shared her passion for Girl Scouting nationwide. Sue's legacy reminds us that from the very beginning, volunteers are the heart and soul of this movement. And we also lost Faye shortly after her term concluded this past fall. Lydia will have a special remembrance of Faye during her remarks later in the program. Thank you all for the many expressions of condolences in memory of Sue and Faye. Please join me in a moment of silence for all the losses in our Girl Scout family this past year.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna cut that recipe in half because for makes 10, so 5 donuts for only 2.
I don't know if you could hear me, but I want to thank you for that moment of silence. And now I would like to recognize our current board members. Their list is on your screen. Together with me, they ensure that our council remains strong. It is an honor and privilege to call to order the 59th annual meeting of Girl Scouts Nation's Capital via webinar and live stream. The meeting today will include a report of the Credentials Committee, adoption of the agenda, rules of order, and approval of minutes, bylaws revision, the Treasurer's report, and election of new members for the Board of Directors and the Nominating Committee. We will also have a report on the delegates forums held in February. Joining me are Wendy White, Secretary of the Board of Directors, who will also serve as the parliamentarian, and Lydia Soto Harmon, Chief Executive Officer. Welcome. Let's begin. I just received a report from the Credentials Committee, headed by volunteers Kathy Coulter and Cheryl Gooding. The council bylaws state that, quote, to constitute a quorum for the transaction of business, 51% of the council voting members must be present in person, with a majority of the service units represented. Present on the webinar at 9 a.m. were 126 of 136 service units and 282 accredited council voting members. The Credentials Committee certifies that all voting members are active members of the Girl Scout movement, 14 years of age or older, and registered through Girl Scouts Nation's Capital. The Credentials Committee certifies that the requirements of Article 1, Section 8 of the council bylaws regarding a quorum for the transaction of business have been met. The final agenda for today was posted on the website and emailed to all delegates. I will now ask Wendy White to review the proposed rules of order to govern our business today. Wendy?
Thank you, Barbara. Good morning, everybody. All motions and resolutions shall be submitted to the Secretary via the GoToWebinar question log at the right-hand side of the screen. Speakers must state their name and position if writing in questions via the GoToWebinar question log or asking a question in person. All remarks must be addressed to the chair verbally or in writing via the GoToWebinar question log and must address the question under discussion. Each person speaking to a motion or resolution may have 2 minutes to speak. No one may speak twice until everyone wishing to speak has had the opportunity to do so. Questions regarding proposals to be considered at the meeting may be asked or submitted on GoToWebinar only by the council's voting members. Proposals considered at the meeting are limited to those proposals specifically included in the notice of the meeting. Such proposals will be voted upon as presented. Each motion will be allotted 5 minutes. Debates may be extended by a 2/3 vote or closed in less than 5 minutes by a motion to call the question. A motion to call the question takes precedence over any motion on the floor and also requires a 2/3 vote. If the motion is passed, an immediate vote on the question at hand is called. Back to you, Barbara, for the minutes.
Thank you, Wendy. The minutes of the annual meeting held on April 18th, 2020 were posted on the council's website for review. Let's consider approval for all the procedural items, including the agenda, the rules of order, and the minutes of the last meeting. To all voting delegates, if you have additions or corrections, please unmute yourself to speak now.
I have a correction. Eileen Kane in Service 42-4. You have 2 typos in this minute. I put it in the chat. They're really only technical fixes and very easily done, because I believe in one case there's a word that's repeated twice, and in the other case there's a word missing. But otherwise, I would move to approve the minutes.
Thank you very much. Your motion is to approve the minutes as amended with those 2 corrections.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And thank you for your careful reading of the minutes and catching those issues. Is there a second?
Second.
I second.
There is a motion. And is there any further discussion of the minutes? Or any of the items we're voting on? Okay, hearing none, we will now vote to approve the agenda, rules of order, and minutes as presented. All in favor, press the unmute button and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, press your unmute button and say no. Abstentions, press your unmute button and say present. The motion is carried. Thank you. Next, Wendy White will share the work of the Bylaws Review Committee. She will review all proposed changes, answer any clarifying questions, and entertain a motion to vote on all changes as presented to amend the bylaws and the articles of incorporation. Wendy?
Thank you again, Barbara. In September of last year, the board created an ad hoc committee to review the bylaws to reflect the council's current practices and Virginia law requirements. I co-chaired the committee with James Durrero, along with the 7 board members listed on the screen. These proposed amendments to the bylaws and the articles of incorporation were reviewed by the council's legal counsel at Williams and Connolly. Changes were made to the bylaws to clarify current council practices, which include the delegate formula for our annual meeting, to allow for virtual meetings, and to elect national delegates a year earlier as a result of changes made to the 2020 National Council session. Changes to the Articles of Incorporation included updating the responsibilities section to add preparing girls for their responsibilities in the workplace and the world, adding a new article to permit the board to act by majority consent if certain requirements are met, and providing definition clarity. The committee also took the opportunity to conform the use of defined terms consistently throughout the document and to make other minor conforming changes and grammatical corrections. These amendments were endorsed by the Board of Directors at their February 2021 meeting, reviewed at the forums in February, and included in the annual meeting delegate package, which was posted on the website on March 12, 2021 for your review prior to this meeting. We will now scroll quickly through the information provided in the bylaws revision document. This completes, oops, not quite. Okay, now this completes the review of the various changes.
Thank you, Wendy. Can I have a motion to amend the council bylaws and articles of incorporation as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
A second.
Any discussion? We are now voting to approve the amended and restated bylaws and articles of incorporation as presented. All in favor, press the unmute button and say aye. Opposed? Press the-
फेथ म्हणजे विश्वास. विश्वास आज तुमच्यामध्ये जिवंत करा.
Oh, we are in serious times.
आज आपण एकदम
I think we have to mute someone, Lydia. I think someone doesn't realize that we're hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there we go.
Our team is on it. Thank you.
We're up to opposed. Press your unmute button and say no.
No.
Okay, we record one no. If abstentions, press your unmute button and say present.
Present.
We have 2 present votes. The motion carries. We will now hear from our first girl speaker, Girl Scout Brownie, Ella. Let's watch.
Hi, my name is Ella, and I'm a brownie in Troop 445. Girl Scouts helped me learn teamwork. My troop was working on our Making Games badge. Our troop leader split us up into 2 groups. We had a couple of minutes to come up with items for the scavenger hunt. My group started by trying to pick a leader, and the problem was everyone wanted to be the leader. Our time was running out, so we asked our troop leader if we could have more time. She said yes, but still we could not figure out who was going to be the leader or what to do for the scavenger hunt. Then time ran out. The other group was already ready, and we had nothing. The other group worked together as a team, and we didn't. That day, I learned that working as a team is better than arguing about who got to be the leader. As I've learned, teamwork makes the dream work.
Thank you so much, Ella. She's only a brownie. Our girls are so inspiring at every age. Girls like Ella have amazing experiences because of our volunteers. So now we'd like to say thank you to some of those great volunteers. And what better way to say thank you than with the thanks badge?
The Thanks Badge is awarded for truly outstanding service that benefits the entire Council or Girl Scout movement over a period of 5 years. Carol Ann Cunningham has made an outstanding commitment to girl programming and girl leadership. She has been volunteering at Camp Firefly for almost 20 years and Ash Grow Adventure for more than 15 years. Her participation in planning and executing camp events has made it possible for them to operate smoothly for girls and other volunteers. As a unit leader, Carol Ann impacted girls directly year after year, focusing mainly on teaching older girls how to be camp aides and guiding them to be successful leaders of events and projects, preparing them for a lifetime of leadership. Congratulations, Carol Ann! During her time on the board of directors, Jerry Fellman's financial expertise to the council has ensured we remain on a strong financial foundation and that we can maximize her resources that support girl empowerment. She played a key role as the council established our new banking relationship with PNC and used her commercial banking experience to help review the East Merleton land donation the council received. The officers team has valued Jerry's wise counsel and appreciated having her as a sounding board and a resource. Jerry's ability to make finances fun and understandable is a treasure. Thank you, Jerry! Teresa Gardner-Williams is a champion of training and supporting volunteers. As a leader, she understood the importance of getting trained and access to resources. As a service unit volunteer, Teresa always focused on giving tips on how to become a better volunteer, and her team became more effective as a result. Since 2014, Teresa has continued to prioritize the importance of volunteer training as an educator so volunteers can deliver the best Girl Scout programming and know when to step back and let their girls lead. She is an essential resource to teen advisors and helps them retain older girls. Thank you, Teresa. Ann Robertson has been a relentless advocate, evaluator, and Gold Award applicant mentor. Reviewing more than 350 Gold Award Girl Scout proposals, Ann's work empowers girls to take action in their communities as a Frederick Gold Award panel member. Ann works closely with girls, taking the time to help them find creative ways forward and encouraging them when their proposal is not initially approved. Ann was at the forefront of the Council's efforts to maintain exacting standards for the Gold Award while also providing as much flexibility as possible, mentoring around 100 Gold Award girls who we know as girls the world needs. Congrats, Ann! Jane Storero's legal expertise in corporate governance has been invaluable to our Council. As a Secretary of the Board of Directors and Parliamentarian of our annual meetings, Jane was always ready to navigate the unexpected. In 2018, she led the committee to review and revise the Council's bylaws to make our process better and more efficient for years to come, and brought calm leadership to each meeting. Through this work, and through her work drafting the charge for the Girl Advisory Board, Jane empowered adults and girls to participate in council activities, helping to keep our focus on the girl in everything we do. Thank you, Jane!
Wow, so many amazing volunteers. Congratulations to all of our Thanks Badge honorees, and good morning to all of you. I'm Maria Rodriguez, Treasurer of the Board of Directors. I'm delighted to be here to report on the financial condition of Girl Scouts Nation's Capital. As the Treasurer, it's my duty to present an overview of the audited financial statements from the previous year. Our fiscal year ends on September 30th, so this report is primarily for the year ended September 30th, 2020. The Council's financials undergo an external audit every year to ensure everything is accurate and represented in accordance with best accounting practices. This year's audit was prepared by the CPA firm Aronson LLC. Their report, along with the Council's financial statements, were posted for delegate review prior to this meeting and are available on our website. I'm pleased to report that Aronson has stated that the Council's financial statements accurately present the Council's financial position and are in accordance with generally accepted U.S. accounting principles. The audit was reviewed by the Council's Audit Advisory Committee, chaired by Tamara Vineyard, and the Governance Advisory Committee, chaired by Mary Karen Wills, and was approved by the Board of Directors at our February meeting. Today, we will review the Council's Statement of Position and Statement of Activity for fiscal year 2020. Unlike any other nonprofits here and across the country, the Council was able to weather the financial impact of the COVID pandemic last year. As you know, the cookie program ended just before the stay-at-home orders were issued in March. And we were incredibly fortunate to retain our staff and our core operations thanks to a Paycheck Protection Program loan offered as part of the federal government's COVID relief efforts. We're deeply disappointed to cancel all in-person programs, especially our camp programs, but the safety of Girl Scouts will always be our priority. We're now even more excited for camp this summer, and we hope that you are too. Okay, let's dig in and look at some of the financial details from fiscal year 2020. We'll start with the Council's assets. Our total assets were $46.3 million. As you see on this slide, the Council's assets are divided into three categories. Current assets include our cash, accounts receivable, shop inventory, prepaid expenses, and deposits. Investments include our board operating reserve and endowments. Property and equipment include all of our fixed assets. The percentage of each category is shown on this pie chart on the screen. Offsetting our assets are the council's liabilities and new assets. Our liabilities are captured into three categories. Current liabilities are the council's debts or obligations that are due within 1 year, appearing on our balance sheet as accounts payable, accrued payroll liability, and other shorter term obligations. A new liability category that you see this year is the PPP loan. As I mentioned earlier, the council applied for and was granted a payroll protection program, PPP loan. The council has applied for full forgiveness on that loan and is awaiting approval. So as of the end of our fiscal year, the loan is reflected on the books as a future obligation. Our long-term liabilities are the council's debts or obligations that are due in future years beyond 1 year. These obligations appear on the balance sheet as deferred rent, capital lease expenses, and notes payable. Our next slide shows public support and revenue for the year. These revenues include proceeds from the Girl Scout product programs, camping, other program fees, as well as donations from individual donors, corporations, and foundations. Product program and our Girl Scout shops had net sales of nearly $14.5 million, which represents an increase of almost 16% from the previous year. As I mentioned earlier, the council was fortunate to complete its product programs prior to the start of COVID. This success is your success, and it's what makes Girl Scout programming possible. We are so grateful to you and all the Girl Scouts and adult volunteers for your energy, dedication, and support of our Girl Scout product programs. Our camping program didn't experience the same success as in years past due to the pandemic. Revenue from camping and other program fees dropped significantly since we had to cancel all of our summer camp programs. Fortunately, total contributed revenue, which includes donor contributed revenue and net assets released from restrictions, grew by nearly 10% to a total of $2.4 million, or 13.5% of our total revenue stream. In total, our operating revenues equaled $17.8 million, up 2.7% from the previous year. Now I will highlight the council's expenses for the fiscal year 2020. Program services are the costs associated with providing direct programs and services to girls and adults, which totaled nearly $11.4 million for the year, a decrease of nearly 18.5%, which is primarily due to the COVID-related program cancellations that I mentioned, most notably all of our summer camp programs. Supporting services are the expenses associated with council management, general administrative functions, and fundraising. In fiscal year 2020, these expenses totaled $3 million. Every year, we also report capital expenses, which represents the depreciation on our buildings and equipment, totaling nearly $880,000. Depreciation is a non-cash expense, yet we have to reflect that expense in our financials. With the addition of depreciation, we end the year with total expenses of $14.4 million. We are proud to hold true to our values of putting the girl first in Girl Scouting, which is clearly supported by these numbers. When you compare money spent on program costs versus overhead costs, 79% of council expenses go to program services, directly serving girls and supporting their leaders. And the pandemic didn't stop the council's ability to deliver meaningful programming, including hundreds of virtual opportunities ranging from badge workshops to earning an endangered species patch to singing along at a virtual campfire. We are grateful for how hard the council's staff work to ensure that year after year, we exceed the industry benchmark of 70% for direct service expenditures. If you have any questions about the financial statements, I urge you to contact our amazing Chief Financial Officer, Laura Bassett. She loves talking Girl Scout numbers. This concludes my report looking back at our financial performance in fiscal year 2020. Now let's talk a little bit about how we're doing in fiscal year 2021. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic is still part of our lives, and the Council is feeling the financial effects a little more keenly this year. This is primarily due to much lower than expected results of this year's cookie program. As you can see on the slide, we sold slightly more than 3 million boxes of cookies, which is about 30% fewer boxes than last year. While we anticipated the program would be smaller this year due to the pandemic, we didn't anticipate such a huge drop in girl participation. This year, 23,908 girls participated in the cookie program, and that's a 32.9% decrease from the previous year. To offset this drop in the revenue, the Council applied and was granted a second PPP loan. We also cut our expenses, including holding current staffing at 111 positions rather than our full employment level of 120 positions. Even with these measures, the Council expects to end fiscal year 2021 with a deficit. Fortunately, the Council's financial strength of previous years will enable us to address the deficit. And we will continue to closely monitor our expenses to ensure that we come through these difficult times stronger together. This concludes my report on the current financial condition of Girl Scouts Nation's capital. Thank you so much. This report will be filed as presented. And now let's hear from our next girl speaker, Girl Scout Junior, Ani. Ani?
Hi, I am Ani and I am 9 years old. I have been in Girl Scouts for the past 4 years, and the challenges with the new virtual reality made me think hard how I could put all that go-getter, innovator, risk-taker, and leader training into an action, and the opportunity presented itself when I realized how our younger siblings were struggling with their virtual classes. It has been a rough adjustment to a new reality for all of us as students. Virtual learning makes us feel socially isolated and easily distracted. As a fourth grader, I was able to force myself to stay motivated and focused on my classes. It was not easy for my 5-year-old sister, who had had her first experience with school and even Girl Scouts in a virtual environment. Kindergartners were struggling to see the joy of learning. Mute yourself, unmute yourself, raise your hand, unraise your hand, we can't hear you. Sentences were killing their interest regardless of the effort their teachers were putting into it. One day I tried to create a slideshow for her about her dolls, and she had so much fun with it. Then I tried to create another one, but this time I wanted to include her math class in a new way, substituting counting by 5s with tally marks. Colorful interactive games and fun breaks were lighting a fire in her, and in me too. I decided to create a platform of online slides combining fun games with learning. These slides will not only benefit my sister, but will be open to every kindergartner and first grader who wants to develop a love of learning and have some fun. But making all the presentations by myself was taking an exceptionally long time. So I asked my fellow Girl Scouts to help. We started working together to make fun classes not only for my sister, but for their siblings too. At the beginning, our younger siblings are protesting, but after every class, they enjoyed the presentations more and more. This was turning into a big success. Our younger siblings were now more enthusiastic and feel more confident during their virtual classes and online scout meetings. Now we are planning on developing a website with all our lesson plans and making it public as an enhancement for teachers. My sister was alone with her struggles, and once she started kindergarten and the journey in scouting, I was there to give her encouragement and strengthen her up. Then I was alone in my big mission, and my fellow Girl Scouts pitched in and helped to make my idea happen. We can work better and be more successful if we do it with each other's support. My time as a Girl Scout has shown me that working with others to get a project done is much more enjoyable and successful than if I were to go to it alone. We are able to reach more students and make learning fun, and therefore we are stronger together. From hosting camp to make sure we have resources to go to camp, these recipients of the Thanks Badge 2 and the Capital Award make sure girls like me have awesome opportunities. Thank you. Bye.
The Thanks Badge 2 is awarded for truly outstanding service that benefits the entire council or Girl Scout movement for an additional 10 years after the Thanks Badge is presented. Judy Baldwin launched Camp Fairfax in 1998 and started co-directing Camp Firefly in 2007. Through her work, hundreds have experienced the fun of Girl Scout programming and the excitement of being outdoors. Younger girls who arrived fearful of being outdoors at night left knowing they could take ownership of their experience and they could count on their sister Girl Scouts for support. Judy also focuses on giving older girls leadership roles so they feel empowered to have agency over the activities they lead. From young girls to adult volunteers, Judy has been empowering leaders at camp for years. Congratulations, Judy! Barbara Ostrom has been an adult educator for more than 20 years, teaching program-level classes and cookout and campout among many others. Barbara exemplifies the best of Girl Scouting, dedicating endless time to honoring our traditions while pioneering new ways to develop high-quality Girl Scout programming. Before going virtual was common, Barbara pioneered online classes to see if she could reach more volunteers in our huge council. She experimented to find ways to engage the participants in an all-virtual setting and develop new online programming. She has been a great resource for other adult educators as so many things have needed to become virtual. Thank you, Barbara. The Capital Award recognizes a distinguished degree of administrative performance by an adult whose superior contribution has created a positive and pronounced council-wide impact. Laura Lane is a passionate board member who has mentored girls for more than 10 years at Camp CEO and has generously hosted internships in her office for Girl Scouts. Her incredible legacy has been her Sweet Success events that give visibility to our Gold Award Girl Scouts and Congressional Aid Program. Sweet Success enabled us to recruit more than 30 congressional offices to host high school girls in the Congressional Aid Program and has raised an incredible total of nearly $500,000 for Girl Scouts. Congratulations, Laura! Judy Walter has worked tirelessly on the Council's Board of Directors since 1998, and her institutional knowledge and viewpoint has been incredibly valuable to our Council. Judy embodied the Girl Scout philosophy of use resources wisely when she co-wrote our Council's investment policy statement, and as we get ready to update that document, we again turn to Judy to take us into the next decade of investment strategy. Judy is helping us lead the way, focusing on environmental, social, and corporate governance to measure the sustainability and societal impact of our investments, while ensuring the strong financial health of our council. Thank you, Judy.
Antoinette?
Thank you. Thank you, Ani, for sharing your story. And congratulations to our Badge 2 and Capital Awardee honorees. Thank you. It is wonderful to be here today at the annual meeting. I am Antoinette Barksdale, second vice president of the board. I am presenting this morning with team board members, Eulania Ahn and Jessica Thies. In February, we hosted 7 virtual forums for almost 400 service delegates. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank all the delegates who attended and provided their thoughtful feedback on such very important topics. Although virtual Girl Scouting has been a challenge for some, participant feedback indicates that aspects of our program are well suited to the virtual world. Therefore, the Council sees hybrid program delivery, a combination of virtual and in-person experiences, to be our future. Our goal is to always increase access to experiences for girls and decrease burdens of participation for our parents and our wonderful, wonderful volunteers. Eulania?
Good morning, everyone. At the forums this year, the board wanted to learn what aspects of Girl Scouts are best experienced virtually. What about in person? We were interested in creative ways to combine virtual and in-person opportunities and to understand the training and resources needed for success. The feedback we received from our delegates was extensive, but we managed to distill the big ideas down into a few key themes. Volunteers and parents overwhelmingly stated that virtual is best for trainings and volunteer or parent meetings. Scheduling is easier and travel is not required. For parents, Virtual Girl program works if minimal parent participation is required. Girls appreciate virtual access. Virtual provides to unique guest speakers and subject experts, as well as opportunities to complete badge and journey activities. But girls also share that there were many ways to just have fun while gathering virtually. Activities like baking, watching movies, and playing trivia games provide a chance for girls to create new shared memories. Delegates agreed that Girl Scouting is best when we can gather in person, especially outdoors. In person provides opportunities to make personal connections and practice social skills, as well as teamwork. Participating in Girl Scout traditions such as songs, friendship circles, ceremonies, and thinking day create a sense of community. And there are more opportunities to serve the community and lead others when we can gather in person.
So while many troop leaders were uncertain how to combine both in-person and virtual elements, the most common recommendation was to utilize virtual platforms to accomplish advanced planning required for in-person events, trips, or activities. There were suggestions to deliver activity bags and kits to girls in advance to virtual meetings, for virtual meetings to ensure that all girls have supplies to complete activities together. There were also many who suggested that virtual meetings or activities should be scheduled during the winter months in order to minimize cancellations due to poor weather conditions. Finally, offering Gold Award workshops as a hybrid process was highly recommended. So one of the most helpful pieces of feedback that the board received from our delegates was a list of resources and trainings that our volunteers needed to deliver hybrid programming. Delegates requested trainings and instructional one-pagers for online platforms and technology, as well as financial support for Zoom subscriptions. They wanted to learn from others who successfully engage girls virtually with specific techniques and content. There was interest in a list of guest speakers and resources to make planning easier and sessions hands-on and interactive. The good news is that the Council already has made investments in technology to help support many of these requests.
Thanks, Eulania and Jessica, for giving our forum report. The board is currently updating our corporate goals, a process that happens every 4 years. The feedback you provided at the forum is for informing this work. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all your hard work. We will now hear from Girl Scout Senior Audrey. Audrey?
Hi, my name is Audrey, and I'm a senior in Troop 1852. As much as today's world seems to want to ignore it, social injustice remains an incessant and critical issue in modern society. From the unjustified violence against minorities to the normalized oppression of women in the workplace, it is blatantly obvious that change is needed. For how can it be acceptable for people to be paid less, discriminated against, or even killed for simply living in the body that they were born in? So, my Girl Scout troop decided to do something about it. Our troop is really diverse and made up of girls from all different backgrounds, and that makes it especially important to us that each and every one of us knows that her voice matters. Because of COVID-19, what we can do is somewhat limited, but we're doing what we can given our resources to spread our messages of change to as many people as possible. After all, we're Girl Scouts. We make do with what we've got, and we make the most of it. It's just what we do. So, even though large gatherings with tons of people were completely out of the question, we brainstormed ways to get our voices across. Together, we came up with ideas for socially distanced and digital protests, speaking on podcasts, and social media posters. When all was said and done, we were amazed at the response our work had gathered. There was a seemingly endless number of people who empathized with us, opened their minds to us, and joined the fight with us. It was at that moment that we realized that we were, in fact, stronger together. We learned the utter importance of listening to each other and helping to amplify each other's voices. These experiences are unforgettable and make lasting impacts, but we couldn't have done it without each other. I have benefited from all of the Girl Scouts and volunteers that have come before me, so now let's celebrate some of those Girl Scouts who have been members for more than 50 years.
The Knox Award honors individuals whose continuous service to Girl Scouts Nation's capital exemplifies the spirit, dedication, and enjoyment of Girl Scouting and the principles of Juliet Lowe's movement. It is the highest award for adult volunteers in our council. In her 55 years in Girl Scouts, Sue Hansen has worn many different service unit and association hats and has impacted thousands of girls and volunteers. As an adult educator, she has trained new leaders for every Girl Scout level as well as outdoor skills. As an association training manager, she coordinates educators in her area, keeping her association strong and comfortable with the best practices in Girl Scouting. She also serves on the Gold Award panel and has been a consistent supporter of girls as they work to achieve the highest honor in Girl Scouting. Sue made a mark in adult recognitions on the Council Recognitions panel and has had a hand in steering the formal recognition of hundreds of our council's incredible volunteers. Her favorite thing about recognizing volunteers is surprising them with an award they were not expecting. And as the chair, she oversees all of the higher awards approved by the panel. Well, almost all, because we were able to surprise her with the Knox Award. Congratulations, Sue! As a volunteer in 8 councils, Susan Ducey has brought experience and perspective to Girl Scouts, especially representing the viewpoint of our military families. As a professional meteorologist, Susan used her expertise to develop and plan STEM programming for our council. She designed and oversaw STEM-focused stations at our Girl Scout Expos, the National Engineering Workshops, and Science Day for years. Susan also worked with our Archives Committee, preserving and cataloging the history of her council, and gave tours of the Frederick Archives so girls could learn about and enjoy the objects that showcase our history. She made history come to life when she found a love for being a Juliet Gordon Lowe impersonator at parades, meetings, and events for the last 18 years, a role that has made our founder come alive for a new generation of girls and adults. Today, we recognize Susan's 60 years as a Girl Scout and honor her with the Knox Award. Congratulations, Susan!
Thank you, Girl Scout Senior Audrey, for your inspiring words, and congratulations to our Knox Award honorees. It was such a pleasure to participate in the awards ceremonies we were able to do at people's homes. It is now time to hear from the nominating committee and conduct the yearly elections. Pursuant to the council bylaws, voting members electing to make nominations from the floor must have provided the information for the proposed nominees to the secretary of at the council's headquarters at least 7 calendar days prior to the annual meeting. We have not received any nominations from the floor for this year's elections. Ann Scott, Chair of the Nominating Committee, will now present the report and share the slate of nominees. Ann?
Good morning, Girl Scouts. Having trouble with my camera, so I apologize. This has been a busy year for the Nominating Committee. I want to thank my fellow Nominating Committee members, shown on the slide, who met monthly and worked over weekends and evenings to prepare this year's slate of candidates for board and nominating committee members. We are responsible for presenting a single slate of candidates to the annual meeting to fill these positions. We ensured that candidates have expertise in the areas of finance and audit, real estate and property, technology, human resources, public relations, and organizational governance. All members of the board are important investors in the council, being part of the fundraising efforts and making personal financial commitments. They also connect the council with new prospective donors, individuals or corporations and foundations. We are presenting a slate of candidates today that is consistent with our democratic principles and that of Girl Scouts of the USA.
Thank you, Ann. I now declare the polls open for voting on nominees for board and nominating committee members. And please present nominees for members at large of the board of directors.
Thank you, Barbara. For members at large of the board of directors for a 3-year term starting October 1, 2021 through September 30, 2024, we propose Nicole Nikki Clifton, Nishita Henry, James McGregor, Cheryl Mack, Rory Maynard, Jody Morton, Wendy Stark. For member at large of the board of directors for a 1-year unexpired term starting October 1, 2021 through September 30, 2022, we propose Janet Osborne. For members at large of the board of directors, teen girls, for a 1-year term starting October 1, 2021 through September 30, 2022, we propose Sophia Brown and Gitika Gorthy.
I declare nominations closed for members at large of the board of directors. We are voting by acclamation to elect the slate for members of the board of directors as presented. All in favor, press the unmute button and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Press your unmute button and say no. Abstentions? Press your unmute button and say present.
Present.
We're recording 2 abstentions. I declare the slate for members of the board of directors elected. Congratulations. Anne, please present nominees for members of the nominating committee.
Thank you, Barbara. For members of the nominating committee for a 3-year term starting October 1, 2021 through September 30th, 2024, we propose Christy Brundage, Jody Morton, and Mary Karen Wills.
I declare nominations closed for members of the nominating committee. We are voting by acclamation to elect the slate for members of the nominating committee as presented. All in favor, press the unmute button and say aye. Opposed, press the unmute button and say no. Abstentions, press your unmute button and say present.
Present.
We have record 2 abstentions. I declare the nominating committee slate elected. Congratulations. We know you will serve Girl Scouts Nation's capital to the best of your abilities. And Anne, thank you. I see your camera's working, Anne. We get to see you.
Yes, just in time.
Thanks to you and the nominating committee for your hard work.
Thank you.
I want to thank our outgoing board and nominating committee members. Please accept our heartfelt appreciation for your service. From the board of directors, Yelena Ahn, Vicki Bailey, Jessica Thies, and Mary Karen Wills. From the nominating committee, Suzanne Gleason, Ann Scott, Carolyn Thompson. Thank you for your service. I'm now pleased to share a few remarks of my first year as president of the board. In October, one of my first official duties was to lead the council's delegation to the Girl Scout National Session, virtually of course, but it was an amazing experience. As you can see from our hats, we enjoyed decorating the Girl Scout Nation's capital signature hat. Between the extremely active chat log and a socially distanced in-person gathering for half the delegation at the DC office at one point, It was a true bonding experience. We spent over 36 hours together over a weekend, helping to ensure our voices were heard on all proposals. Importantly, I am thrilled to report that our positions prevailed and members will have a voice in decisions relating to membership dues. I was proud to be part of this important milestone, and it was all thanks to Girl Scouts Nation's Cap, as we are known in the movement. To tell you a bit about myself, I grew up in a Girl Scout in Queens, New York, and it had a profound and lasting influence on my choices and success. At age 9, a rather cranky Girl Scout cookie customer, a potential customer in my neighborhood, challenged me to add 3 numbers together really fast in my head. I quickly arrived at the answer. He told me I was good at math, and because I passed his test, he bought cookies. I never forgot his compliment that I was good at math, and attribute cookie math to giving me the confidence to continue my math studies through college and graduate school. Through my teens, I was proud to be a camp counselor at Camp Henry Kaufman in New York State. Later, when I was headed to college to be a math major, my participation in Girl Scouting provided access to a scholarship that paid 25% of my tuition for all 4 years. I'm extremely grateful. I know very well that Girl Scouting continues to impact the lives of thousands of girls every year at Girl Scouts Nation's capital. I see it in the engagement of our teen delegates at our forums. I see it in the projects of my fellow Gold Award Girl Scouts. One of my favorite things is to visit cookie booths, and I have to say that handing out the cool cookie customer patch was a highlight of my COVID-affected year. Shout out to my friends in West Virginia, in particular, especially Troop 40235, and I believe we have several of our Girl Scouts from that troop as delegates here today. And to our dedicated volunteers, I appreciate each one of you. As I said, there have been few opportunities for me to meet you in person over the past year due to COVID. It was my privilege to travel to the front yards and driveways and homes of many of today's honorees to present awards. Regardless of volunteer role, troop leader, share chair, service unit manager, adult educator, cookie mom, camp volunteer, or board member, your passion and dedication truly make a difference in the lives of each and every Girl Scout. You are incredible. And our members don't just give their time, but share their love of Girl Scouting with financial support, their treasure. So many of our volunteers, family, and friends give generously to our annual family campaign, Share. In fact, 2 associations, 34 and 42, have already met or exceeded their goals for this year. Accept our virtual congratulations for joining this year's Green Ribbon Club. I also want to recognize the 22 service units that have met or exceeded their share goals already this year. I hope that makes sense. We have so much to be proud of. We are 64.2% to our goal of $700,000, but we know that was $700,000 through share. But we know our service unit and troop share chairs continue their creative efforts to spread the word about the importance of the Share Your Love of Girl Scouting campaign. And I want to assure you that your board is a partner in your efforts to increase investments in our girls. We each make our own personal meaningful gift every year and actively work to introduce our business colleagues and friends to the Girl Scout mission. One example of this is board member Mary Karen Wills. She led a committee that planned our first Girl Scout Golf Classic. Masked and socially distanced, we hosted old and new friends and raised approximately $127,000 in August 2020. And we're doing it again on Monday, October 25th, 2021. Thank you, Mary Karen. But we have more work to do in our council and frankly in this country to increase the financial investment in our girls' future. In 2017, the Women's Philanthropy Institute found less than 2% of overall charitable giving from individuals, foundations, and corporations support nonprofits focused on women and girls. Our girls deserve much more, and the funding challenges and financial needs continue to be real. For instance, we are thrilled to be opening our camps, day, evening, community-based, and sleepaway this summer. But to do that safely for our Girl Scouts, volunteers, and staff, we have to purchase over $100,000 worth of personal protection equipment, PPE, to serve, fingers crossed, about 4,000 girls. We will be sharing more details about the need in early June. Thank you in advance for your generous support. In September of last year, the board formed an ad hoc strategy planning committee charged with developing corporate goals for the next 4 years. Based on the work completed thus far, we remain firm in our belief that girls are best served in a troop, and affirm our belief that volunteer delivery of high-quality program is vital to our growth and sustainability. You confirmed during forums that a combination of virtual and in-person experiences will be our future. Additionally, we are proud that our council has a strong history of diversity, equity, and inclusion, but we recognize that there is more work to be done. It is not enough for Girl Scouts to be welcoming. We need to make sure every girl, family, and volunteer feel that they belong. Girl Scouts Nation's capital has survived this past year much stronger, but I do not want us to just survive. I want us to thrive in every possible way. From growing membership to serving our girls, from supporting our volunteers to sustainable finances. Our council has an important leadership role to play in our community and in the Girl Scout movement. I'm honored to lead this council of inspiring girls, dedicated volunteers, and generous donors. Together, I know that we are stronger. Thank you. Lydia?
Thank you, Barbara. I'm so excited that you have joined us as this is your first meeting as our president of the board, and it's exciting that we are doing great on time. So I am thrilled to give my remarks. You know, we have lived through a year that was truly like no other, and hopefully only once in our lifetime. I reflect on all the good work and the goodwill our Girl Scouts have generated in our region, and I am inspired and humbled. I am proud that our volunteers and staff pivoted quickly to provide a place for girls to learn and grow, even if it meant digital platforms. And our girls were engaged. 35,000 girls attended virtual troop meetings, and almost 50,000 virtual program opportunities were provided. And this was just staff-led. Imagine the number if we include all of our troops, our service units, and our associations. Thank you for all modeling resilience and providing something that felt normal and consistent in a time of so much uncertainty for our girls. Our Gold Award Girl Scouts hosted conversations of consequence on issues such as racial justice, gender stereotyping, and mental health. For Thinking Day, 300 of our girls and I met virtually with over 30 Girl Scouts from Japan. You should have heard all the girls greeting each other with konnichiwa, konnichiwa, konnichiwa. I couldn't get them to stop. It was our way to celebrate international friendship and the Cherry Blossom Festival. Virtual programming opportunities truly do open the world for our girls. And fortunately, our technology was up to the challenge. GS Learn has proven to be an invaluable tool, providing more than 26,000 online learning opportunities and successfully instilling confidence in our Girl Scout leaders. And Rallyhood is where our Girl Scout community gathered virtually. And we are thrilled that we will continue to offer Zoom accounts at a reduced rate of $36 annually to support girls through 2023. Our Girl Scouts have also found ways to serve the community and take action in a pandemic. From sending cards Valentine's Day to frontline workers, to blankets for a local hospice, to planting trees in memories of lives lost to COVID-19. And despite our inability to gather, our girls remained committed to earning the highest awards. 705 Girl Scout cadets earned the Silver Award. 187 Girl Scouts earned the Silver Trefoil, and 201 girls earned the Gold Award, our highest earned award. Congratulations to the girls, their parents, and the network of volunteers for all their support. These are girls that indeed our world needs. As Maria shared during our Treasurer's Report, 2020 and 2021 cookie sale have been dramatically different, but impressive in their own ways. Beyond the financial benefit to troops and the council, Girl Scout cookies proved to be a true gift to our community. Girl Scout cookies brought smiles to the faces of our community heroes, including teachers, healthcare workers, and first responders. And our cookies also recognize the brave contributions of the Capitol Police and National Guard and facility personnel stationed at the U.S. Capitol, thanks to Booz Allen Hamilton. And we were grateful when corporations and businesses purchased cookies from girls to say thank you to their employees through our Mint for Each Other campaign. And we were so grateful and proud of our troops that used their cookie earnings to purchase much needed food for local pantries. Girl Scout Entrepreneurial Program truly provides benefits to our girls, our families, our council, and the community. Our council continues our commitment to deliver outdoor experiences and to maintain our 8 beautiful camps. This past year, we installed a new roof at Camp Aquasco's Aquascake Lodge. Say that fast 3 times. And look at the new Shawnee Lodge at Camp White Rock. Are you ready to take your girls camping? Or should I say glamping? And we celebrated Camp Mayflather's 90th anniversary virtually, as well as raised over $117,000 to make needed improvements. You know, Camp Mayflather is the oldest working Girl Scout camp in our country, and the only camp that has the distinction of having a former First Lady, Lou Henry Hoover, actually sleep at a tent in the camp. And as Barbara mentioned, we are committed to having programming at our camps this summer, as well as supporting our volunteer-led day and evening camps. We are really excited to welcome back campers because it isn't summer without Girl Scout camp, right? We are proud that we continue to be the largest Girl Scout council in the nation with over 78,683 girl and adult members. Thanks to you, we have one of the strongest retention rates in the country with 73%. We did, however, see another year of decline in our new girl members. Virtual recruitment is a challenge. Last spring, our members recognized the value of Girl Scouts and renewed their membership in record numbers. We understand that for some of our members, a virtual Girl Scout experience is not ideal, but I promise you, Girl Scout adventures await you in 2022, so renew your membership today. And if there is a girl in your life, your street, your community, please use your power to have her join the greatest adventure in her life, Girl Scouts. Last year, when Faye Fields, our past president of the board, presided over our annual meeting virtually, we honored her leadership, her passion for girls, and her dedication to Girl Scouts with a promise to deliver a well-deserved in-person celebration this spring. Sadly, we lost Faye to breast cancer last November. And I have been heartbroken to lose an amazing leader, but a mentor and a friend. The Bobby Lurch Legacy of Leadership Award was created in honor of our council's first president, the amazing Bobby Lurch, who passed away at 104, and to mark the pinnacle of leadership and service to our council. In recognition of Faye Fields' inspiring leadership, we bestowed the Bobby Lurch Legacy of Leadership Award posthumously to Faye. Faye was an indispensable champion of Camp CEO, of the Gold Award, of the Major Gift Society, and through her passion, she helped to bring the outdoors to thousands of girls across our council. We were delighted that Ike Fields, who is with us today, her beloved husband, accepted this award on her behalf on March 29th. We are all better for having known Faye, for her positive energy, for her wisdom and her grace. We miss her smile every day. Faye was truly a gift to our girls. I want to share with you the words that Ike used to accept the award.
Have come out for the celebration. They will cherish this. I will cherish this. They love the Girl Scouts, and I used to drive her everywhere to Virginia, West Virginia. Kind of like driving Miss Daisy. So she was always giving me advice and encouragement. And in my own quiet way, I tried to encourage her because I knew what she was doing was so important. If young women don't have an opportunity for development early on in their lives, they stand a substantial risk of not being the people, the person that they could be, not fulfilling their potential. We can't allow that to happen. Faye did not want that to happen. Thus, she enjoyed every single moment, headaches notwithstanding, that she was chairman of the board. Today also is our 49th wedding anniversary. So this is especially touching to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep up the work that you're doing. There's some girl, young lady out there who's going to do great things because of the work that you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I am grateful to each of you for your perseverance, your creativity, and your commitment to making Girl Scout happen for our girls. We are all united in our mission to provide the best leadership program. I am looking forward to our next year. You have proven that we are stronger together and that the year ahead will be better than the year that has passed. Thank you. Back to you, Barbara.
Thank you, Lydia. What a moving speech and recollection of Lydia. And I'm sure, like me, most of our delegates today have experienced, have been touched by Lydia's leadership. And hopefully, and I know one of them is going to be, as Ike Field said, is going to, maybe all of you are going to make an impact in our world because you had the real privilege of knowing Faye and sharing in her great leadership. Thank you so much, Lydia.
You're welcome. So here we are. I cannot believe we're just doing great on time.
Very efficient, very well done, and we heard the voices too of our girls, our members, our delegates. We do want to close our meeting with a video of 3 incredible volunteers who not only have been members of Girl Scouts for more than 50 years, but have given their time, talent, and energy for just as long. And before we move to the video, I just want to say, in the notion of longevity, I was asked to reflect by Lydia and some of the fellow the leadership in the council on what I see for the next 3 years of my term as chair of the board. And I said, legacy is so important. I remember being at the 100th anniversary back in 2012, the Rock the Mall event, and many of you were there. And reflecting on the fact that I was a Girl Scout when Scouting turned 50. And I shared with the girls that were there on the mall that I had the opportunity to meet with and hang out with, that they're meeting someone that knew the last 50 years, and down the road, they are going to meet girls where they will have been serving for 50 years as these wonderful volunteers that we're going to honor. And that represents 100 years of heritage. We have such an ability to, our Girl Scout movement has enormous impact and heritage, and we are all a part of that legacy. And I look forward to continuing to build our legacy of impact and of importance in our society, and to each of you, each of us as individuals. So with that, I'd like to move to our last recognition video. Thank you.
Longevity awards are given for the combination of girl years plus adult years to equal one's total membership in Girl Scouting. This year marks the 55th year of Brodeen Brown's membership in Girl Scouts, a history that started when she was a girl camping at Winona and Potomac Woods and visiting La Cabana in Mexico. As an adult, Brodeen's weekend schedule revolved around troop meetings for more than 2 decades. She also volunteered in her service unit and association before being tapped for the board of directors, where she served for more than 20 years under 5 board presidents. As co-chair of Rock the Mall, she helped make it possible for thousands of girls and volunteers to have a Washington, D.C. experience they will never forget. Congratulations, Brodeen! This year marks Eileen Kane's 50th year in Girl Scouting. Growing up in Manhattan, Girl Scouting made it possible for Eileen to still become an expert camper who taught those skills to younger girls. After participating in the Juliet Low Friendship Fund event in Sri Lanka, Eileen's Girl Scout journey took a new direction, pushing her to become an international leader as the youngest representative of the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts at the United Nations. As a longtime volunteer, Eileen has been a troop leader for Brownies, Juniors, and Cadets. Congratulations, Eileen! Damayanti Padmanathan has been celebrating her passion for the international friendship of Girl Scouts for 50 years. She has participated in troops in Sri Lanka, England, India, Kenya, and the United States, and has traveled to Girl Scout destinations all over the world and educates others about the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts at every opportunity. She is a leader in promoting the idea that this is a sisterhood that crosses borders. She also brings her skills and sense of humor to outdoor trainings, patiently working with volunteers who struggle to learn the knots that are second nature to her after decades of camping the Girl Scout way. Congratulations, Damayanti!
Thanks to all of our honorees, to all of our speakers, to all of our delegates for your participation in our 2021 annual meeting. Please save the date for next year's annual meeting. In person, Saturday, April 30th, 2022. I hereby call the 2021 annual meeting to a close.
Woo! Great job, everybody. Thank you to all the presenters. Can all the presenters please turn their cameras back on? There we go. If you're up for, and I don't know if you can, and there's Maria and, oh, Yelena. Look at, oh, let me take a picture of this. Great. Thank you, everybody. Look at this. We got you out early. You can go have a fun day.
Enjoy your weekend.
Great.